Do you ever feel spoken over in meetings? Have you watched people ignore your ideas even when they matter? Your voice should carry weight and open doors instead of fading away. In this video, we will show you how to speak with presence so people lean in, trust you, and follow your lead. You will learn simple steps to control your tone and use clear words that build confidence and respect. You will hear stories that connect on a human level and tips you can apply from the first moment you finish this video. Imagine stepping into any room and feeling the energy shift when you speak. Stay with me and discover how small changes in your speech can create big shifts in your life. By the end, you will have tools to speak like a leader and make people respect you. Are you ready to transform your voice? Number 1, speak with clarity so people trust your direction. You know what people want more than anything when you speak? They want to feel like you know where you're going, that you're not just talking, you're leading, that you're not filling space with sound, you're pointing a direction with your words. And when your words are clear, when your thoughts are clean, people lean in, they listen, they trust. Because clarity makes people feel safe. It makes them feel like you're not guessing, you're guiding. And if you can learn to speak with clarity, I mean real clarity, you can earn something very rare, their respect. Now, respect isn't something you demand. You don't walk into a room and announce it. You don't raise your voice and expect it. You earn it, you build it. And one of the fastest ways to earn respect is to speak in a way that removes confusion from people's minds. If people are confused when you talk, they'll ignore you. But if people feel clear, if they understand what you're about, where you're going, what you believe, they'll remember you, they'll follow you, and in time they'll respect you. Not because you shouted, but because you made sense. You see, people are tired of being confused. They hear 100 voices every day. The boss, the ads, the experts, the people online, everyone's talking, but very few are leading. Most are just adding to the noise. If you want to be different, speak clearly, speak simply, speak with direction, and you'll cut through all that noise like a sharp knife through fog. And this starts with your thinking. If your thoughts are messy, your words will be messy. If your thoughts are sharp, your words will be sharp. You can't hide your thinking behind your speech. Eventually it shows. That's why the first step to speaking with clarity is to get clear with yourself. What are you really trying to say? What do you really want the other person to feel or understand? Until you answer that, you're just talking. And that's not leadership. Leadership starts when you decide that your words will serve people, not impress them. You don't need fancy words. You don't need a big vocabulary. You need truth. You need conviction. You need simplicity, because simplicity is power. When you speak with simple, strong words, people know you mean it. And when they know you mean it, they trust you. People don't trust unclear people. They might smile, they might nod, but deep inside they pull away, they hesitate, because they don't know what you're really saying. They don't know what you're really asking, so they protect themselves. But when you're clear, when you say what you mean, and you mean what you say, people start to lower their guard. They feel like they can be open with you. They feel like they're not being sold, they're being shown. And that's what leadership is. It's showing people. It's showing them what's possible, showing them who you are, showing them what they could be. But they'll never see it if your words are foggy. You have to clean the window. And that starts with your language. Now here's the part most people miss. Clarity isn't just about speaking slowly or using short sentences. It's about being certain of what matters. You have to believe in what you're saying. If you're unsure, people will feel it. Even if your words sound good, they'll feel that hesitation. So before you speak, get aligned inside, get rooted. Ask yourself, do I believe this? Because when you believe it, your voice changes, your face changes, your posture changes. You stop trying to perform and you start trying to connect. And connection is the goal. Because people don't respect speakers who put on a show. They respect leaders who show up real. If you're trying too hard to sound smart, people won't trust you. But if you speak with heart and you're clear and you're grounded, people will lean in. They'll feel like they can depend on you. And they'll start to listen. Not just once, but again and again. So how do you do it? How do you train yourself to speak with that kind of clarity? First, slow down your thinking. Most people try to speak while they're still figuring out what they want to say. That's like trying to write a book while the pages are flying in the wind. You've got to pause, think it through, know your point. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I want this person to understand right now? Just one. If you try to say 5 things, you'll say nothing clearly. Say one thing well, and you've given people something they can carry. Second, remove extra words. We clutter our speech with stuff we don't need. We say, I just wanted to quickly maybe kind of check if. That's not leadership. That's fear talking. Cut it down. Say, I want to check. That's it. Simple, strong, clear. Every extra word you use weakens the message. Strip it down to the core. Make it clean. Third, speak with structure. People don't follow chaos. They follow order. Give your thoughts a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you start speaking, let people know where you're going, then take them there, then remind them of what they learned. This helps people track with you. It makes them feel like you're not wasting their time, and that feeling builds respect. Fourth, match your words to your energy. If you're talking about something important, but your voice is flat, people won't believe you. If you're speaking about something small, but you're shouting, people will feel pushed. You've got to align your energy with the message. Speak with the emotion that fits the moment. Not too much, not too little, just enough to show that you care. And fifth, listen to how you speak. Record yourself. Play it back. Do you sound rushed, unsure, dull? Do you wander? Do you ramble? It's hard to listen to yourself, but it's the only way to get better. Leaders don't avoid feedback. They chase it. They want to improve because they know the better they speak, the more impact they can make. Remember, people are making decisions about you based on how you speak. If you're clear, they believe you're capable. If you're unclear, they think you're confused. That might sound harsh, but it's true. In this world, clarity is currency. It buys you influence. It buys you trust. And if you want to lead, you need both. And let me tell you something else. This is a skill. It's not magic. It's not talent. You can learn it. You can practice it. You can train it every single day. When you talk to your friends, your coworkers, your family, practice speaking clearly. Practice saying what you mean. Practice removing fluff. Over time, your voice will change, your presence will grow, and people will feel it. They'll feel your clarity, and they'll start to treat you differently. You don't need to be loud to be clear. You don't need to be aggressive to be respected. You need to be certain. You need to be real. You need to be grounded. That's how leaders speak, and that's how respect begins. Because here's the truth. Most people don't want to face. If people don't respect the way you speak, they won't follow you. Not truly. They might smile, they might nod, but deep inside, they won't give you their full attention. You've got to earn that, and you earn it by making them feel safe in your words, making them feel seen, making them feel like you know what you're doing. And that comes from clarity. So today, if you want to grow, if you want to lead, if you want to be someone others look to when it matters most, start with your words. Speak with clarity. Think before you speak. Cut the clutter. Know what you stand for. Say one thing at a time and mean it. Because when your words are strong and clear, people don't just hear you, they follow you. They trust you. They respect you. And that's the kind of voice that doesn't just make noise, it makes change. Now go sharpen your speech. Go clean up your thinking. Go practice until your voice becomes the kind of voice that people stop to hear. Not because it's loud, not because it's clever, but because it's clear. And when they hear that clarity, they won't forget it. They'll feel it, they'll trust it, and they'll follow it. And that, my friend, is what it means to speak like a leader. Number 2, control your tone to command real attention fast. Most people will never hear what you say because of how you say it. And if your tone is off, your message dies before it even begins. You can have the right idea, the right words, the right facts. But if your tone doesn't match your message, no one will care. That's the truth. And if you don't learn how to control your tone, you'll keep losing the room before you even open your mouth. People are emotional. They don't respond to logic first. They respond to feeling. They listen for emotion, for energy, for certainty, for warmth. Your tone tells people how to feel about what you're saying. It shows them if they should care or walk away, if they should trust you or ignore you. You don't need a loud voice. You don't need perfect words, but you need the right tone, because tone is power. Tone is trust. Tone is the invisible force that makes people stop, turn, and listen. And you know exactly what I mean. You've been in a room where someone said something soft, but the tone made everyone go silent. You've heard someone speak with such certainty, such calm strength, that it made you rethink everything. You've seen people win others over, not with fancy speeches, but just by how they said one sentence. That's tone. That's the hidden weapon most people ignore. The problem is most people aren't aware of their tone. They don't hear themselves the way others do. They just talk. And that's the danger. Because when you don't take control of your tone, your emotions take control for you. Frustration leaks out. Insecurity seeps in. Doubt creeps through. And even if you don't say it with words, people feel it. They hear the hesitation. They hear the pressure. They hear the need for approval, and they pull back. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can train your tone. You can shape it. You can master it. And when you do, you'll walk into rooms with a whole different presence. You won't just speak. You'll command attention. You'll set the emotional temperature of the room. You'll become someone who sounds like they mean what they say, because you do. And it starts with awareness. If you don't know what your tone sounds like, you're flying blind. So stop relying on how you think you sound and start listening to how you actually sound. Record yourself. Speak into your phone. Ask people you trust, how do I sound when I talk? You might be surprised. Some people think they sound passionate, but really they sound tense. Some think they sound calm, but really they come off flat. You can't improve something you don't see clearly. Awareness is the beginning of growth. Then comes control. This is where real transformation happens. It's where you stop reacting and start choosing. When you control your tone, you decide how others experience you. You can choose to sound calm when things are heated. You can choose to sound confident when you feel uncertain. You can choose to sound warm when others expect cold. And that choice changes everything. Because most people don't make that choice. They just respond to whatever emotion is hitting them in the moment. But leaders don't respond. They guide, they steer, they set the tone, and people follow them because of it. And don't think this is about acting. It's not about faking it. It's about alignment. It's about letting the right part of you come through. You're not changing who you are. You're revealing the strongest part of who you are. You're showing up with intention instead of accident. And people feel that. They feel that you're steady, that you're centered, that you're deliberate. And that's what earns their attention. Now, tone isn't just about volume. It's not about being loud or soft. It's about emotion. It's about rhythm. It's about emphasis. It's about pace. When you speak too fast, people feel rushed and anxious. When you speak too slow, people drift off. When your pitch is too high, people hear insecurity. When your pitch is too low, people feel disconnected. But when you find the tone that fits your message, people lock in. They stay with you. They feel what you're saying, not just hear it. And that's the key. Tone isn't about the words. It's about the feeling behind the words. You could say, I believe in you, with flat tone, and it means nothing. Or you could say the same thing with belief in your voice, and it could lift someone off the floor. That's the difference. Your words carry no weight unless your tone carries the truth behind them. People can hear when you don't believe what you're saying. They can feel it. You might be able to hide your doubt from your face, but you can't hide it from your voice. It slips out in the hesitation, in the forced energy, in the slight tremble. That's why it's not enough to work on your tone from the outside. You've got to work on it from the inside. You have to become someone who believes what they're saying, someone who speaks from real conviction, someone who means every word. Because when you believe it, your tone will take care of itself. So now the question becomes, what do you need to believe in more? Yourself, your vision, your worth, your ability to lead, your power to make change. Find that place inside where the belief isn't solid and strengthen it. Because tone is a mirror. It reflects what you believe about yourself. If you want people to hear strength, you've got to build strength. If you want people to feel certainty, you've got to live in certainty. You can't fake that, but you can grow it. And let's talk about how fast this can change. Some people think, well, I've always spoken like this. That doesn't matter. You can change your tone in a week, in a day. It's a skill, just like learning to drive or swim. You practice, you pay attention, you adjust. And over time it becomes natural. You speak with purpose. You speak with impact. You speak with weight. And what happens next is powerful. People start to treat you differently. They listen more closely. They respond more openly. They follow your lead without resistance. Why? Because you sound like someone who knows where they're going. You sound like someone worth listening to. And that opens doors everywhere. Think about the people you admire most. They're not just smart. They sound grounded. They sound strong. They speak with tone that commands presence. Not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because they're aligned, because they've worked on it, because they know the moment they speak, they're either building connection or breaking it, and they choose connection. And if you're wondering if this really works, think back to a moment in your life when someone's voice changed you. Maybe it was a coach, a mentor, a parent, a friend, someone who said something simple, but said it with such honesty, such power, such calm strength that it stuck with you. It stayed. That's what you can be for others. You don't need a spotlight. You need the right tone. So here's what you do. Every conversation is a practice. Every phone call, every meeting, every sentence you say, practice owning your tone. If you're frustrated, don't let it leak out. Breathe, reset, choose strength. If you're nervous, don't speed up, slow down, find your breath. If you want to inspire someone, speak with calm fire, not noise, not hype, clarity with energy, and start paying attention to others. Notice what happens when someone speaks too sharply. Watch the faces in the room, see how they shut down. Notice what happens when someone speaks with calm certainty. Watch how others soften. Pay attention to these moments. They're teaching you. You'll begin to see a pattern. People don't follow loud voices. They follow grounded voices. They follow people who don't need to dominate the room, but know how to own it. People who don't need approval, but speak from truth. People who speak like they've already earned respect, because they have. And this doesn't require perfection. You'll still get nervous. You'll still slip. That's human. What matters is that you keep adjusting. You keep learning. You keep aligning your tone with your message. You keep choosing how you show up. That's growth. That's leadership. That's how you rise above the noise. Because in a world full of people trying to shout louder, the person who speaks with the right tone stands out. The person who speaks with poise, with power, with purpose, they hold the room. And that person can be you. But you have to decide. You have to decide that from this moment on, your voice will not be an accident. Your tone will not be left to chance. You will own it, shape it, control it, because you understand that the way you say something is just as important as what you say. And if you want to be heard, if you want to be followed, if you want to be respected, your tone must carry the weight of your belief. So speak with intention, speak with presence, speak with energy that makes people feel alive. Let your tone remind people that you are here, you are real, and you are ready. Because when your tone is right, your message lands. And when your message lands, lives change, and yours will be one of them. Number 3, choose strong words that show your confidence clearly. Most people don't struggle with what they say. They struggle with how weak their words sound. If your words are soft, people doubt you. If your words are unsure, people overlook you. But when you choose strong words, words that carry clarity and confidence, you change how people see you, how they hear you, and how they respond to you. And the moment you change your words, you change your influence. You don't need to shout to sound powerful. You don't need to be aggressive. But you do need to choose your words like they matter, because they do. Words reveal what you believe. They reveal your mindset. They reveal your confidence or your lack of it. Most people don't even realize they're using weak language every day. They say, I think, I hope, maybe, I guess, and they wonder why no one listens. They wonder why no one follows. It's because their words don't sound like they believe in what they're saying. If you say, maybe I'll try, you already sound like you've lost. If you say, I think this might work, you already sound like you doubt yourself. And if you sound unsure, people feel unsure. That's human nature. People respond to the energy behind your words. They listen for certainty. They follow conviction, not perfection, not arrogance, but steady, confident truth. And the way you show that truth is through the words you choose. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. Your weak language is a habit. You didn't choose to speak softly. You trained yourself to, over time, with repetition. Maybe it was to avoid conflict. Maybe it was to sound humble. Maybe it was because you didn't want to come off too strong. But now that habit is hurting you. Now it's in the way. And if you want people to trust you, respect you, and follow your lead, you need to break that habit. You need to rewire how you speak. Replace soft, uncertain words with strong, grounded ones. Say, I will, not I might. Say, here's what I know, not I think maybe. Say, this is what I believe, not this could possibly be true. When you speak like that, you sound like someone who knows where they're going, and that's who people follow. You see, words are not just about communication. They're about leadership. They signal direction. They show people if you're serious. And if you don't sound serious, don't be surprised when no one takes you seriously. That's the cold truth. People won't ask you to lead them. They'll wait for someone who speaks like they mean it. Someone who doesn't ask permission to be confident. Someone who knows their worth and shows it with every sentence. Now I understand. Some of you were taught to be careful with words. You were told not to sound too strong. You were warned not to be too direct. But what if I told you being careful is what's holding you back? What if I told you that every time you soften your words, you weaken your presence? That you don't need to be rude or loud to be strong. You just need to stop apologizing for your voice. Confidence isn't loud, it's clear. It's simple, it's direct. It says, here's what I believe. It says, this is where we're going. It says, I trust what I'm saying. And you build that kind of confidence one word at a time. You build it by refusing to hide behind fluffy language. You build it by speaking like you've earned your voice, because you have. I remember a time in my life when I had the knowledge but didn't have the courage to say things clearly. I'd dress up my sentences in soft language. I'd add kind of, or maybe, or I think to everything. And I watched people tune out, not because they were rude, but because I wasn't commanding their attention. And I realized if I don't believe in what I'm saying, no one else will. That's when I made the decision. I started stripping down my sentences. I started speaking plainly, strongly. I started saying what I meant and meaning what I said. And everything changed. My business changed. My relationships changed. My influence grew. Because people don't want more information. They want leadership. They want someone who can say something real and say it clearly. And let me tell you this, your life will move in the direction of your strongest words. If you keep saying, I don't know, you'll live in confusion. If you keep saying, I'm not sure, you'll live in hesitation. But if you start saying, I've got this, even when you're nervous, you'll move forward. If you start saying, this is what I choose, you'll take back control. Words shape reality, and you are always one sentence away from a stronger version of yourself. Now I want you to start listening to yourself. Catch your weak words. Notice how often you say maybe, kind of, I guess. Don't judge yourself. Just become aware. Because awareness is power. Once you hear it, you can change it. You can replace it. You can upgrade it. And you must. Because here's the thing. Every room you walk into, people are making decisions about you based on how you speak. Not just what you say, but how confidently you say it. If you walk into a room and say, I think this is the right direction, you've already invited doubt. But if you say, this is the right direction, you've already claimed leadership. People lean into certainty, and your words give them that certainty, or they don't. This isn't about manipulation. It's about being honest, but honest with power, honest with strength, honest with clarity. And if you don't feel that strength inside yet, speak it anyway. Speak it until it grows. Speak it until your body believes it. Speak it until your life starts catching up to your words. Because confidence is a muscle. It grows with use. The more you speak strong words, the more you become strong. The more you lead your life with direct language, the more your mind and body align. And suddenly, you're not just speaking differently, you're living differently. You're no longer waiting for permission. You're no longer second guessing. You're moving forward, and people can feel it. And I'll tell you what else happens. People start respecting you, not because you demanded it, not because you impressed them with long speeches, but because you spoke clearly. You said what you meant. You looked them in the eye and gave them truth without fluff. That's rare. That's powerful. That's leadership. You want to be respected? Start by respecting your own voice. Stop minimizing. Stop apologizing. Stop doubting your right to speak clearly. Your words matter. Your voice matters. And when you speak with strength, you give others permission to do the same. That's how you lift people. That's how you inspire. That's how you lead. So from now on, choose words that carry weight, Replace I hope with I plan. Replace I guess with I've decided. Replace maybe with yes or no. Be firm, be clear, be real. You don't need to have all the answers, but speak the answers you do have with certainty. And remember this, strong words don't make you cold. They make you reliable. They make you someone others can trust. Because when people know where you stand, they feel safe following you. Confusion creates fear. Clarity builds trust, and clarity comes from language. This isn't just about how you talk to others. It's about how you talk to yourself. If your inner voice is always saying, I can't, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, those weak words become your reality. But if you start saying, I can figure this out, I am growing, I've got what it takes, you start changing from the inside out. Your brain listens to your language. So speak strength even to yourself. Every day you're telling yourself a story. Make sure the words in that story reflect your strength, not your fear. Use words that lift, not lower, that build, not break, that lead, not hesitate. And over time, you'll see your life rise to meet the power of your language. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need big vocabulary. You don't need to sound like anyone else. You just need to speak clearly, directly, and with the strength that lives inside you. Even if it's buried under doubt, even if it's been silent for years, it's there, and it's time to bring it out. Start now. Say what you mean what you say. Use strong words, stand behind them, speak with a voice that says, I know who I am, and watch how fast people start listening, not just to your words, but to you. Number 4, look people in the eyes when you speak truth. The fastest way to earn someone's respect is to look them straight in the eyes and speak your truth with strength and honesty. Most people don't do that. Most people look away. They glance down, they shift their weight, they let their fear speak louder than their words. But when you look someone in the eye, really look, you send a message louder than any words could ever say. I am here, I am not hiding, and I believe in what I say. You see, eye contact is more than just a gesture. It's a test of character. When you look someone in the eyes while telling them the truth, you reveal the strength of your heart. You show them you're not pretending, you're not performing, you're showing up fully. And that's what people are looking for. They're not just listening to your words, they're watching your face, they're scanning for honesty. They're looking to see if you mean what you say. And here's the hard truth. If your eyes shift while your words sound strong, people feel the gap. They don't believe you, even if you say the right things. Because humans are wired to trust what they feel, not just what they hear. And when someone sees your eyes locked in with theirs, steady, unwavering, full of clarity, it builds an unshakable kind of trust. You don't need to speak for hours to make an impact. Sometimes all it takes is a few honest words, spoken while looking someone directly in the eye. In that moment, something real happens. You stop being another voice. You become a presence. You become someone who stands for something. And in a world full of noise and empty talk, that kind of person is unforgettable. Now think about this. How many times have you avoided eye contact when you were unsure, when you doubted yourself, when you didn't want to be judged? That's natural, that's human, but it's also the very thing that weakens your presence. Because the second you break that connection, you start shrinking. You give your power away. And if you do it often enough, you start living in that smaller version of yourself. Looking people in the eye when you speak is a habit. And like any habit, it's built one moment at a time. You start with small things, at the store, at home, in casual conversations. You train yourself to stop running. You train yourself to hold steady. And slowly, you become someone who doesn't flinch in the face of truth. It doesn't mean you won't feel nervous. It doesn't mean you'll always be sure. But it does mean that even when you feel unsure, you choose to stay present. You choose to stand in your words. That's what earns respect. Not perfection, but presence. And here's something you need to understand. Truth has a power of its own. When you speak from a place of realness, when you say what you believe with clean honesty, people feel it. Even if they don't agree, they respect it. Because they know you're not lying. They know you're not wearing a mask. And most people are so used to being lied to, manipulated, or avoided, that when someone speaks with simple honesty while looking them in the eye, it's unforgettable. It breaks through defenses. It cuts through distractions. It wakes people up, but it starts with you being willing to stop hiding, to stop letting fear lead, to stop watering down your message so it's more comfortable. You have to choose truth over ease. And you have to look people in the eye when you say it, because if you look away, they will too. And this matters in every part of your life, in your work, in your family, in your friendships, in how you lead. When you avoid eye contact during important moments, you train others not to take you seriously. But when you look someone in the eye and speak your truth, you train them to pay attention, to respect you, to believe you. Some of you have been holding back for years. You've let others dominate the room because you were afraid of being too bold, too direct, too vulnerable. But that stops today because the world doesn't need more people hiding. It needs more people who are willing to be seen, fully, completely, without shrinking, without softening the truth, just to stay comfortable. People won't remember your fancy words. They'll remember the way you looked at them when you told the truth. They'll remember that feeling, that spark, that sense of, this person is real. That's what builds legacy. That's what creates influence. That's what makes someone unforgettable. And it doesn't require you to be loud. You don't need to raise your voice. You just need to mean what you say. You just need to say it while being there with your full self, your full attention, your full truth. That's power. That's leadership. Now I know some of you are thinking, but what if they don't like what I say? And I'll tell you this, the goal isn't to be liked. The goal is to be real. When you're real, the right people will respect you. Even those who don't agree will feel your strength. Because strength isn't about control. It's about presence. It's about courage. It's about standing in your truth, even when it shakes. So start practicing today. When you speak to someone, hold their gaze, not in a forced way, not to intimidate, but with quiet strength, with a sense of, I see you and I want you to see me. Because when people see the real you, they listen, they trust, they connect. You don't build connection by hiding behind polished language or fake smiles. You build it by showing up fully. And the fastest way to show up is through your eyes. Look at people like you mean it, like you're not scared, like you're not pretending. Because when you stop pretending, you start leading. And the truth is, you already know what to say. Most people do. The problem isn't the message, it's the delivery. And the most powerful delivery is simple: eye contact and truth. Say what's real. Look them in the eyes. Stay steady. That's how you own a room without shouting. That's how you lead without trying. That's how you inspire without effort. I want you to think of the leaders you admire. Think of the people who moved you, who made you feel something real. I promise you, it wasn't just their words, it was their presence. The way they looked at you, the way they were there, fully, honestly, authentically. That's the standard now. That's who you're becoming. Someone who no longer avoids hard truths. Someone who no longer flinches when things get uncomfortable. Someone who stands tall, speaks clearly, and looks people right in the eyes. And that starts with one simple decision. The decision to stop hiding. To stop letting fear shape your presence. To start living like your truth matters. Because it does. If you don't believe in what you're saying, no one else will. But when you do, when you really do, it shows. It shows in your words. It shows in your tone. And it shows in your eyes. So here's what I want you to do from this day forward. Every time you speak truth, no matter how small, practice holding eye contact. Practice staying with it. Practice not looking away. Feel that discomfort and hold steady. Because every time you do, you're building a new version of yourself. One that doesn't shrink. One that doesn't run. One that leads. You can't demand respect, but you can earn it by being fully present in every word, every sentence, every moment. That's how you show the world you're not just another voice in the crowd. You're someone who means what they say. Someone who speaks from the core. Someone who looks you in the eyes and tells the truth, even when it's hard. That's rare, that's powerful, and that's what makes you unforgettable. Now take that truth and go out into the world. Speak it, stand behind it. Look people in the eyes and let them see the strength in you. Not the fake kind, not the polished kind, the real kind. The kind that says, I'm not here to impress, I'm here to be real. Because that's the kind of presence the world needs more of, and that's the kind of presence you were born to live. Number 5, pause with purpose to make your words matter. You don't need to speak faster to sound smarter. You don't need to fill every second with words to be respected. In fact, the most powerful people in the room are often the ones who say the least. But every word they say lands deep. What sets them apart is not just what they say, but how they say it. And at the heart of that power is something most people overlook: the pause. That deliberate silence between sentences. That stillness before the punch. That space where attention sharpens and meaning takes root. I want you to understand something right now. Your words will never matter if you don't give them room to breathe. People won't remember what you said if it came in a rush. They'll remember the moment you made them feel something. And the only way to create that feeling, real connection, real presence, real gravity, is to pause with purpose. To stop chasing speed and start leading with clarity. You see, most people are uncomfortable with silence. The moment there's a pause, they panic. They fill it. They ramble. They dilute their message, trying to keep up with some invisible pressure to sound smart or impressive. But what they're really doing is running from their own power. Because power lives in stillness, in control, in restraint. I've watched leaders change the energy in a room without raising their voice. I've seen people command total attention, not because they were the loudest, but because they knew when to stop talking. They knew how to pause, to let their words sink in, to give people time to feel the weight of what they just said. That's not a trick. That's leadership. And it's something anyone can learn. If they're willing to slow down, if they're willing to stop needing approval and start owning their message. Ask yourself this: do you speak to impress or to connect? If you speak to impress, you'll talk fast. You'll rush. You'll try to squeeze in every idea to sound important. But if you speak to connect, you'll slow down, you'll say less, and you'll use silence like a tool, not an accident. Let me tell you why the pause matters. It gives your listener time to reflect. It shows them you're in control. It tells them you believe in your message so much that you don't need to dress it up. That's respect. That's presence. That's confidence. And confidence is what people respect. The truth is, people don't follow noise. They follow presence. They follow composure. They follow people who don't flinch when the silence shows up. Because if you can stand still and quiet in the middle of your message, you're telling the world, I'm not afraid to be heard. I'm not afraid to slow down. I'm not afraid to be felt. And that's rare. Most people are sprinting through their own sentences, like the faster they finish, the sooner they'll feel safe. But safety doesn't live in speed. It lives in ownership, in taking your time, in trusting your own voice enough to let it breathe. Think about a courtroom. Think about a preacher. Think about a coach in a locker room before the final play. They don't rush their words. They use silence. They pause. And when they speak, you feel it. Not because of the volume, but because of the weight. And weight is created in the pause. When you pause with purpose, you create a space for impact. It's in that space that people decide whether or not they trust you, whether or not they believe you, whether or not they'll follow you. That's the moment when hearts are moved, when minds are shifted, when real leadership shows up. Some of you are trying to be heard, but you're drowning your own message in noise. You're not giving your words the room they need to matter. You're stepping on your own impact because you're scared to stop. You think if you slow down, people will stop listening. But the opposite is true. When you pause with confidence, people lean in. They want to know what's coming next. That space builds tension, builds focus, builds connection. But it has to be done with purpose. You can't pause because you forgot what to say. You pause because you know exactly what you mean. You pause because you want every word to count. You pause because you're not desperate to fill space. You're building something stronger than words. And if you want to lead, if you want to be respected, if you want your voice to matter, then you must master this. Because words without space are just noise. But words placed inside the right rhythm, now that's music, that's presence, that's influence. So how do you do it? First, slow your breath. That's where it begins. When your breath is calm, your message becomes calm. When your breath is steady, your voice carries strength. You speak like someone who has something to say, not someone trying to prove something. And people feel that difference instantly. Next, stop rushing to your next point. Instead, deliver one clear idea, then stop. Let it land, let it settle, then move on. The silence between ideas is where the respect grows. It's where people decide whether your words are worth listening to. Third, learn to hold tension. When you pause at just the right moment, after a strong statement, after a bold idea, after a deep truth, you give your audience space to feel. That's how trust is built. That's how you move from just talking to truly leading. It's also how you handle doubt. When someone challenges you, don't fill the space with defense. Pause, look at them, own your stance. The silence will say more than your argument ever could. It says, I don't need to convince you. I believe in what I said. That's confidence. That's strength. That's leadership. Too many people talk like they're afraid they'll be cut off, like they won't get another chance. But real leaders don't chase their moment. They create their moment. They make room for it. They don't rush to be heard. They invite people in. And that's what the pause does. It invites people in. It gives them a moment to catch up, to think, to process, and most importantly, to feel. Because here's the truth. People don't change because of what they hear. They change because of what they feel when they hear it. Your job is to create that feeling, not by shouting, not by saying more, but by saying just enough, then stopping. The most powerful speakers in the world do this. Watch them, study them. They use silence like a weapon. They use pause like punctuation. Every stop is strategic. Every silence is charged. That's how you know they're leading the room, not reacting to it. You can do the same, but you have to train yourself. You have to be willing to sit in the silence, to get comfortable there, to stop fearing that quiet space and start seeing it as your ally, as the place where your impact is shaped. And yes, it takes courage. It takes practice, but it's a decision, a choice. And every time you choose to pause instead of panic, you grow stronger. You become more grounded, more present, more respected. Don't let your fear of silence cost you your voice. Don't let your need to sound smart keep you from being felt. Leadership isn't about talking non-stop. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stop, when to push and when to wait. The pause is not a break. It's a signal. It tells people this matters. It's the underline on your message. It's the spotlight on your truth. And without it, your words will vanish into the noise. But with it, your voice becomes unforgettable. So from now on, don't just speak. Don't just talk. Lead. Speak with intention. Speak with clarity. And then pause with power. Let your words breathe. Let your message live. Because the world is not waiting for more noise. It's waiting for your presence, for your clarity, for your truth delivered with strength. Not rushed, not forced, but owned. Speak, then stop. Let the silence work for you. That's how you lead. That's how you rise. That's how you make your words matter. Number 6, speak less often, but always with strong intent. You don't have to fill every moment with words to be heard. In fact, the more you talk without purpose, the less people listen. Real respect and real influence come to those who speak less, but always with strong intent. When you choose your moments carefully and deliver your message with clear purpose, your voice becomes a force that commands attention and builds trust like nothing else. Most people mistake quantity for quality. They think that talking more means leading more. They believe that the louder or longer they speak, the more powerful they appear. But that's a mistake, and it keeps them trapped in noise. Leaders understand the difference. They know that speaking too often or too casually dilutes their impact. They speak when it matters. They speak with intention. They speak with a reason so strong it's impossible to ignore. If you want to earn respect, start by mastering your words. Think before you speak. Don't just fill the silence with sound. When you do speak, make it count. Make it clear. Make it something worth remembering. That's how people learn to trust your voice. That's how your words gain weight. That's how you lead. This is about being deliberate, about controlling your voice, rather than letting it control you. If you speak too much, you train people to tune you out. You create background noise. But when you speak with strong intent, People lean in, they focus, they feel the energy behind your message, and they want to listen. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing when to stop, when to hold back, when to sit quietly and listen. Those silent moments build your strength. They build your credibility. When you don't rush to be heard, people notice. They notice you're confident enough not to interrupt. You're confident enough to let others speak, and that confidence makes them respect you more. Strong intent means you know why you are speaking. You're not trying to impress or dominate the conversation. You are sharing a thought, a truth, a direction, because it matters. You speak to add value, not just to be heard. That mindset alone changes how others receive your words. You must learn to pause, to consider, and to filter your thoughts. Ask yourself before every sentence, does this add value? Does this move the conversation forward? Does this help others understand or grow? If the answer is no, then don't say it. Hold your words back. Keep them for the moment when they will hit hard, when they will inspire or guide. Think about the people you respect most. What do they have in common? They don't bombard you with constant chatter. Instead, they share ideas that cut through the noise. They speak with clarity and confidence. They don't waste breath. Every word is a tool, carefully chosen and delivered with care. This approach makes you stand out. It makes your voice rare, and rarity builds value. When you speak less often, your words become precious. They become something people wait for, something they want to hear, something they carry with them after the conversation ends. It also protects your energy. Talking too much drains you. It scatters your focus. But when you speak with strong intent, your energy is concentrated, your mind is sharp, your message is clear. That concentration creates power. People feel that power. They respond to it instinctively. There is also a psychological effect here. Humans are wired to listen to leaders who are calm, controlled, and purposeful. When you speak less often, you signal that you are thoughtful, that you are in control, that you value your words and the time of others. This respect for yourself and others builds your leadership. You might be worried that speaking less will make you invisible, that your voice won't be heard. But the opposite happens. When you speak with intention, people seek you out. They listen harder. They value your opinions more. Your presence in the room becomes stronger, not weaker. It takes courage to speak less. It means resisting the urge to react to every comment or fill every pause. It means trusting yourself enough to stay silent until you have something important to say. That kind of self-control is rare, and rare is respected. Practice this in your daily life, in meetings, in conversations, in your relationships. Instead of rushing to respond, pause. Instead of jumping in, listen. Instead of talking just to keep the floor, wait for the moment when your words can make a difference. That moment will come, and when it does, your words will land with force. Remember that leadership is not a competition to see who talks the most. Leadership is about influence, and influence comes from trust and respect. When people trust you, they listen. When they respect you, they follow. And trust and respect are built in the space between your words, not in the volume of them. You are building a reputation every time you speak or stay silent. Choose to build one of strength, intention, and meaning. Speak less often, but when you do, speak with all the power you can muster. Speak with heart, speak with clarity, speak with purpose. That discipline will set you apart. It will give you confidence. It will build a presence that others want to be around. It will make your voice unforgettable, not because it's loud or constant, but because it's real and powerful. Don't be afraid to step back. Don't be afraid to hold your words. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. This is leadership. Speak less often, but always with strong intent. Let your voice be the calm in the storm, the anchor in the chaos, the light in the darkness. That's how you make people respect you. That's how you lead like a true leader. Number 7, use real stories to connect heart to heart. There is nothing more powerful in this world than a story told from the heart. When you speak from experience, when you share real moments from your life, you connect with people, not just with words, but with emotion. This connection breaks down walls and builds bridges. It turns strangers into listeners, listeners into believers, and believers into followers. Speaking like a leader means reaching out with truth wrapped in real stories. This is where respect is born. People are hungry for authenticity. They want to feel something real. No one remembers facts and figures alone, but when you tell a story, a real story, you paint a picture they can see, feel, and understand. It's in that space that trust is formed. Trust leads to respect. Without trust, no leader can stand. Imagine you are in a room full of people. You could talk about leadership qualities, techniques, or ideas, but that will only get you so far. Instead, share a moment when you faced a struggle. Share the time when you were unsure, scared, or even failed. Show how you moved through it. Suddenly, you are no longer just a speaker. You are a human being. You are relatable. People feel your vulnerability, your strength, your journey, and they connect with you deeply. Every one of us carries a story inside that others need to hear. Those stories don't have to be grand or dramatic. They can be simple. The lesson learned from a tough decision, the challenge of overcoming fear, the moment a choice changed everything. These stories create emotional hooks that pull your listeners in. They keep people engaged because they want to know what happens next. They want to see how the story ends. And in hearing your story, they find pieces of their own lives reflected back at them. The brain is wired to respond to stories because stories activate areas linked to emotion and memory. When you speak facts, people hear them with their ears. But when you speak stories, people feel them with their hearts. That feeling creates a lasting impression. It sparks motivation, inspires action, and forges loyalty. One of the greatest ways to build respect is to be willing to share your humanity. That doesn't mean oversharing or telling every detail. It means choosing the right story, the one that teaches, that inspires, that moves your audience. It means speaking from a place of honesty and purpose. When people sense your genuine intent, they open up to you. Stories also give you power because they are memorable. People forget lists and instructions, but they remember how a story made them feel. If you want your message to stick, wrap it in a story that touches real emotions. Stories make your leadership visible, tangible, and alive. Listening to stories helps people process complex ideas. When you connect an idea to a personal experience, it becomes easier to understand. You transform abstract concepts into something concrete. People not only hear what you say, but grasp why it matters. This clarity increases your influence. In real life, leaders who use stories create teams that trust each other. They inspire action by showing examples rather than just giving orders. Stories build culture, identity, and purpose within groups. They remind people of shared goals and common struggles. That shared experience strengthens bonds and keeps people motivated through tough times. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable when telling stories. True leadership requires courage to reveal not just your strengths, but also your challenges. This honesty fosters respect because it shows you are authentic and approachable. People want to follow someone who is real, not someone pretending to be perfect. Your story is your unique power. It's what separates you from the noise. Find moments from your life that shaped who you are today. Tell those moments clearly and with feeling. Paint the scene, the sights, sounds, smells, so your audience can enter the moment with you. Describe your emotions so they understand what you felt. Help them walk alongside you in your journey. Stories invite people to imagine themselves in your place. They create empathy. And empathy is the foundation of respect. When people see your struggles and triumphs, they recognize their own potential. They feel inspired to push beyond their limits because they see it's possible. Every story you share is an opportunity to teach. Embed lessons in your narratives. Show how failure led to growth, how persistence overcame doubt, how a change in mindset opened doors. These lessons make your stories practical and actionable. They turn inspiration into transformation. Think about leaders you admire. Their power often comes not just from what they say, but the stories they tell. Those stories are the reason people remember them and want to follow them. They build emotional connections that facts alone cannot. To master this skill, start practicing now. Reflect on your life experiences. Write down moments that changed you. Find the emotions in those moments and practice sharing them simply and honestly. Notice how people respond. Adjust your storytelling to keep them engaged and moved. Use stories to break barriers in your relationships. If you want to lead your team, your family, or your community, share your truth through stories. It opens doors that facts cannot. It creates bonds that orders never will. Stories are the heart of human communication. They carry wisdom, inspire hope, and ignite courage. When you speak like a leader, your stories become your legacy. They are the gifts you give that keep on giving long after you've spoken. Remember, you don't have to be a great orator to tell a great story. You only need to be genuine and willing to share. Your authenticity will do the rest. Your stories will draw people to you, make your message unforgettable, and build a foundation of respect that lasts. Use real stories to connect heart to heart, and watch how your influence grows beyond anything you thought possible. Your voice becomes a bridge to others' lives and a beacon of trust and inspiration. This is the power of speaking like a true leader. Number 8, say exactly what you mean every single time. There is no shortcut to earning respect faster than the ability to say exactly what you mean without hesitation, without confusion, without watering down your words. When you speak with precision, people listen. They lean in. They feel your certainty and are drawn to it. Saying exactly what you mean is not just about words. It's about owning your truth, standing firm in your purpose, and giving others the clarity they desperately need. It's a skill that separates leaders from followers. Too often, communication gets lost in vagueness and over-explanation. People dance around the point because they fear being misunderstood or offending others. But hesitation and ambiguity don't build respect, they breed doubt. When your message is unclear, people question your confidence. They wonder if you really know what you want or if you're just unsure. That uncertainty is like a wall between you and the respect you want to earn. Clear communication is like a beacon cutting through the fog. When you say exactly what you mean, you give others direction. They don't have to guess your intentions or read between the lines. Your words become a map they can follow, a promise they can trust. That certainty invites respect because it shows you have a clear vision and are willing to stand by it. There's immense power in being straightforward. It takes courage to speak plainly, especially when the truth is hard. But the reward is priceless. People respect leaders who don't hide behind polite phrasing or confusing jargon. They admire those who speak honestly, even when it's uncomfortable, because it shows integrity and strength. Saying exactly what you mean builds a foundation of trust that no polished speech can match. When you communicate clearly, you reduce misunderstanding and conflict. Many problems arise simply because people haven't been straightforward with each other. Miscommunication sows frustration, disappointment, and distrust. Avoiding this starts with you. Be the person who clarifies expectations and intentions openly. Be the one who cuts through noise with honesty. That leadership will ripple through every conversation and relationship you have. It's also about respect for others. When you speak clearly, you show you value their time and attention. You are not wasting their energy guessing what you mean. You respect their ability to understand your message and act on it. This respect invites respect. People naturally respond well to someone who honors them with clear communication. This practice requires you to be mindful about your words. It means thinking before you speak and choosing language that reflects exactly what you want to express. Avoid filler phrases or vague terms. Instead, use strong, direct words that carry your full meaning. This might feel unfamiliar at first, especially if you're used to softening your statements to avoid conflict. But with practice, it becomes natural and incredibly effective. Saying exactly what you mean also means being honest with yourself. Clarity comes from knowing what you truly believe and want. If your thoughts are scattered or uncertain, your words will reflect that. Take time to get clear inside before speaking outside. This inner clarity will shine through and make your words impactful. Think about times when you've been confused by someone's message. Maybe they said something polite but left you unsure about what they really wanted. Maybe they used so many words it was hard to follow. That feeling of confusion is frustrating and makes you lose trust. Avoid being that person. Choose clarity instead. Your audience will thank you for it. In leadership, your words carry weight. Saying exactly what you mean prevents rumors, gossip, and speculation. It stops the he said, she said games that drain energy and create divisions. When you communicate clearly, you set the tone for transparency and accountability. People know where they stand with you, and that certainty breeds loyalty. Remember, clarity doesn't mean harshness. You can be direct and still be kind. It's about choosing words that are truthful and respectful. Being clear does not require you to be rude or blunt. It requires you to be intentional and sincere. When your message is honest and delivered with respect, it is heard with openness and appreciation. This principle applies everywhere: in business meetings, personal relationships, public speaking, and everyday conversations. When you master this skill, you increase your influence because people trust you more. They know you won't leave them guessing or mislead them. Your voice becomes a reliable guide they want to follow. Here is a practical step. Before you speak, ask yourself, what exactly do I want to say? Then say just that. Avoid adding unnecessary details or caveats that dilute your point. If you want to disagree, do it respectfully but clearly. If you want to ask for something, do so confidently and precisely. If you need to say no, say it firmly and kindly. Every word counts. Clear communication also invites others to do the same. When you model this behavior, you encourage honesty and openness in your environment. Your team, family, or community learns that clarity is valued and rewarded. This creates a culture where misunderstandings are rare and problems are solved quickly. Confidence is built on clarity. When you know exactly what you mean and say it, your confidence grows. People feel your assurance because you have nothing to hide. Your words become tools for building trust and motivating action. This confidence inspires others to believe in your vision and follow your lead. In moments of pressure or conflict, clarity becomes even more critical. When emotions run high, it's easy to get lost in assumptions or vague statements. Leaders who remain clear and direct in these moments calm the situation and provide solutions. Their words anchor the group and guide them forward. Practice this skill in everyday life. Start small by expressing your needs and opinions clearly with family or friends. Notice how it changes your interactions. Then bring it to your professional life. Watch how it affects your relationships and influence. Over time, it will become a natural part of your leadership style. You have the power to change how people see you by simply choosing clarity. Your words can open doors, build bridges, and create respect. Don't underestimate the strength of clear communication. It is one of the most effective tools you have to lead with impact. When you say exactly what you mean every single time, you show up as a leader who is trustworthy, confident, and authentic. People will listen, they will follow, they will respect you because your words mean something. Your voice becomes a force that moves others, a light that cuts through confusion, and a foundation on which trust is built. Choose clarity today. Speak with purpose, speak with honesty, speak with power. Let your words be the key that unlocks the respect and influence you deserve. This is how leaders rise, how leaders endure, and how leaders change the world. Number 9, remove filler words to sound powerful and direct. If you want people to listen to you and truly hear you, then the first thing you must do is cut the noise that drags your message down. Every every like, every you know, chips away at your power. Those tiny filler words silently steal your authority and cloud your impact. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper with weak, crumbling bricks. That's what filler words do to your communication. Removing them isn't just about sounding polished. It's about owning your voice and commanding respect with every syllable you speak. Think about the moments you've struggled to keep someone's attention, maybe in a meeting or during an important conversation. Often it's those little hesitation sounds that reveal doubt or uncertainty, even when you're confident inside. You could have the most brilliant idea, but if your words are cluttered with fillers, the message gets lost. The energy drains out, and instead of inspiring or convincing, you become forgettable. Removing filler words is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's a practice that reshapes how you express yourself, sharpening your speech until every word lands with purpose. When you speak without fillers, your voice becomes a powerful instrument. Your message hits like a hammer, precise and clear, cutting straight to the heart of what matters. This transformation isn't just external. It rewires how you think and feel about yourself. When you stop relying on filler words, you send a message to your own brain. You are confident, you are in control, and your ideas matter. This internal shift fuels your courage to speak boldly, and that courage is magnetic. Consider how filler words sneak into our speech. They're often born from fear of silence, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. When you pause to think, the natural impulse is to fill the gap with sounds that soften the space. But silence is not your enemy. Silence is a tool of power. It gives your listeners space to absorb what you just said. It builds suspense, and it shows that you value your own words enough to let them breathe. Think about the greatest orators in history. They don't rush. They don't clutter their speech. Instead, they master the art of timing and clarity. Their words land with authority because every phrase is deliberate. You can develop that same presence simply by becoming aware of your fillers and choosing to stop them in their tracks. One of the most powerful habits you can form is to train yourself to pause instead of filling the space. That pause might feel uncomfortable at first, like silence stretching too long, but over time, it becomes your secret weapon. It gives you time to gather your thoughts and sends a message of confidence to everyone listening. It says, I know what I'm saying. I don't need to rush. I don't need to fill this space with fluff. Let me share a story. A young professional I coached was brilliant but struggled to command respect in meetings. Her words were strong, but every few sentences, she would say or like, which distracted her audience. We worked on awareness first. She recorded herself speaking and listened back, identifying her filler words. Then she practiced pausing instead of filling. It wasn't easy, but within weeks, her presence transformed. Her colleagues started listening more intently, and she gained the confidence to share ideas without fear. She became a leader in her team, all because she cleared the clutter from her voice. This skill will change how people perceive you. It moves you from background noise to spotlight. When you speak clearly and directly, people remember you, they trust you, they want to follow you. Removing filler words also sharpens your thinking. When you slow down and speak with intention, you naturally organize your thoughts better. You choose your words more carefully and convey your message more effectively. This clarity leads to greater influence and better outcomes in every conversation. The challenge is that fillers often happen unconsciously. You might not even realize how frequently you use them. That's why self-awareness is critical. Start by listening closely to your speech in everyday situations. Record yourself when you practice or speak publicly. Notice the moments when fillers creep in, usually when you're uncertain, nervous, or rushing. Once you catch these moments, practice replacing fillers with silence. It's uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is where growth happens. Teach yourself that silence is safe. Teach your mind that it's okay to take a breath before continuing. Over time, the habit sticks. You can also practice speaking deliberately in low-stakes environments. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Practice answering questions slowly and clearly. Read aloud and pause where natural breaks occur. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Remember, powerful communication is not about talking fast or filling every second with noise. It's about making your words count. When you stop overloading your speech with fillers, your message cuts through the clutter of everyday chatter. It becomes crisp, memorable, and persuasive. Imagine the impact you'll have in interviews, presentations, negotiations, and everyday conversations when your voice is a weapon of clarity. People will lean in, eager to hear what you say because every word carries weight. When you eliminate fillers, you respect your audience's time and intelligence. You show that you value your message and their attention. This respect creates a powerful bond. People want to engage with someone who speaks with such clarity and confidence. This skill also empowers you in moments of pressure. When the stakes are high, it's easy to slip into filler habits as your brain races. But if you've practiced pausing and speaking with intention, you'll stay composed. You'll sound calm, grounded, and in control. Qualities that inspire trust and respect instantly. Let me challenge you. Listen carefully to your speech today. Notice every like, and you know. Catch yourself when you're about to fill a silence unnecessarily. Replace it with calm confidence. Own the pause. Own your voice. Mastering this skill is a game changer. It rewires how people perceive you, boosts your confidence, and sharpens your influence. Every filler word you remove adds power to your speech. Every pause you own builds authority. Your words are your tools to shape reality. Don't dull them with filler. Sharpen them with clarity. Speak powerfully and directly. Let your message stand tall and unshakable. Start now. Speak fewer filler words. Speak with purpose and watch how your world changes. Your voice will become a force that commands attention, respect, and trust. You will become the leader people can't ignore. This is your moment to transform your communication and elevate your influence. Own it. Speak with power. Speak without filler. Speak so clearly that your message echoes long after you finish speaking. Your future depends on the strength of your voice today. Don't let filler words steal your power. Speak with precision and watch doors open, respect grow, and your life change forever. Number 10, raise your standards so people feel your presence. If you want the world to stop and truly notice you, it starts with raising your standards, not just in what you demand from others, but in how you hold yourself every single day. People feel your presence the moment you step into a room, not because of what you say, but because of the invisible bar you set for your own life. When your standards are high, your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You move differently. And that presence, it commands respect, attention, and a deeper connection without needing to say a word. Think about the times you've met someone who instantly stood out, not because they shouted the loudest or acted the boldest, but because they seemed to radiate a quiet confidence and self-respect. That presence isn't magic. It's a reflection of unshakable standards that shape their thoughts, choices, and habits. When you raise your standards, you raise the frequency you operate on. You stop settling for less in your life, your relationships, and your goals. And others feel that energy like a magnetic force. Most people wander through life with low or vague standards. They accept excuses, tolerate disrespect, and settle for mediocrity. But when you decide to raise your standards, you are essentially setting a new boundary for how the world can treat you and how you treat yourself. It's like erecting a beacon that says, "I am worthy of excellence. I demand greatness in every area." And people respond to that. They sense your value because you've carved it out for yourself first. The journey of raising your standards isn't about arrogance or superiority. It's about clarity and commitment to your own growth. It's about refusing to shrink so others feel comfortable. When you make better choices, live with integrity, and push beyond your comfort zone, you cultivate a presence that others naturally respect. This kind of presence inspires people around you to elevate themselves as well. Your standards become contagious. I want you to imagine a moment where you are surrounded by people who don't just like you, they respect you deeply. They listen when you speak, follow your lead, and feel inspired by your example. That scenario is not reserved for a lucky few. It's the natural outcome of raising your internal standards and embodying them consistently. When you refuse to accept anything less than your best, your presence commands attention in a way that words cannot describe. One of the most powerful examples of raised standards comes from the world of elite athletes, artists, and leaders. These individuals don't settle for good enough. They push relentlessly to improve their craft, refine their mindset, and show up with unwavering discipline. Their presence in any room carries the weight of years of self-demand, sacrifice, and commitment to excellence. They don't need to prove their worth, they radiate it. But raising your standards isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about choosing daily to outgrow old habits, toxic relationships, and limiting beliefs. It's about refusing to accept poor treatment or excuses from yourself or others. This inner revolution reshapes how you see yourself and how others see you. It forms the foundation of a presence so powerful that it alters the dynamics of every interaction. Consider the way you carry yourself physically. When your standards rise, your posture straightens, your voice steadies, and your gaze becomes more direct. You move with intention rather than hesitation. These subtle changes build a reservoir of presence that others can't help but notice. When your standards are clear and unyielding, your body language aligns naturally with confidence and authority. Raising your standards also changes the quality of the company you keep. You begin to attract people who reflect your elevated expectations, people who support your growth rather than drain your energy. When you honor yourself, you send a message to the universe that you deserve relationships and opportunities that fuel your potential. Your presence grows stronger as you surround yourself with those who uplift rather than diminish you. This transformation requires courage because raising your standards means letting go of comfort zones and familiar patterns. It means saying no more often to distractions, to negativity, to anything that doesn't serve your highest good. It means stepping into discomfort with the belief that what lies beyond is worth it. This process is the forge that creates an unshakable presence, one that commands respect and inspires change. Let me share a story. There was a man who worked tirelessly, but never felt truly seen. His ideas were ignored, his efforts overlooked. One day he made a decision: no more settling. He began holding himself to higher standards. He showed up on time, spoke with clarity, dressed with care, and stopped tolerating disrespect. Slowly, people started to notice. Doors opened. His voice gained weight. His presence became undeniable. That man transformed his entire life because he raised his internal bar and refused to lower it for anyone. This is your call to action. Start by examining your current standards in every area: your work, your relationships, your habits, your mindset. Identify where you've been settling. Then commit to raising that bar with deliberate action. Hold yourself accountable. Expect more from yourself. Demand more from the situations you engage with. And watch how your presence expands beyond what you thought possible. As you lift your standards, you don't just change your life, you change the way the world interacts with you. People sense when you value yourself deeply. They respond with respect, admiration, and willingness to follow your lead. Your presence becomes a beacon of strength and integrity in a sea of complacency. Never underestimate the power of raising your standards. It is the secret foundation beneath all leadership, influence, and success. It is what sets apart those who live fully from those who drift through life unnoticed. Your presence is your power. When you raise your standards, that power becomes impossible to ignore. So right now, make the choice to live at a higher standard. Speak with more conviction. Act with more integrity. Demand more from yourself in every moment. The ripple effect will be astounding. Your energy will shift. Your confidence will soar. Your presence will grow. This is how leaders are made. This is how legends are born. And this is how you build a life and a presence that leaves a lasting impact. Now, go out there and raise your standards so high that people can't help but feel your presence. And never forget, the world responds to the energy you bring. Bring the energy of excellence. Bring the energy of unstoppable commitment. Bring the energy that changes everything.